Welcome back to a space of absolute stillness. Let the world outside pause at your doorstep. Tonight, there is no need to hurry, no problems to solve, and no thoughts of tomorrow. Peace is not something distant we must search for. Peace begins with this very breath, with the simple acceptance that your body deserves rest. Imagine your soul like a kite, gently landing on a soft meadow, where the wind is now only a touch as light as a whisper. You are safe, you are protected, and you are slowly melting into the sweetness of the night. Before we begin our journey to the misty town of Elysia, if you find comfort in this space, please take a moment to subscribe and turn on notifications, so each night we may find our way back to this haven of tranquility. Now, let me lead you into sleep. In this moment, allow yourself to sink deep into the silence of the room. Can you feel the weight of your body? Feel the bed supporting you, firm yet gentle. Start with your feet. Let your toes relax completely. A warmth is spreading from the soles of your feet, through your ankles and up to your calves. All the tension from a long day of movement is fading away. Your legs now feel weightless, as if walking on a drift of soft clouds. This relaxing energy continues upward, soothing your thighs and pelvis. You feel your back slowly flattening, sinking into the softness of the mattress. Each vertebra is loosening, releasing all pressure. You no longer have to carry anything. Breathe out a long sigh, and with that breath, let go of any lingering worries. Now, notice your hands, the hands that have worked tirelessly all day. Relax your fingers, letting them curl naturally. Feel the warmth spread from your palms to your wrists, forearms, and shoulders. Your shoulders, which often carry so much weight, are now slumped, light as a leaf falling onto a still pond. No more burdens, no more constraints, only a strange, wonderful sense of relief remains. Let this relaxation reach your neck and scalp. The muscles on your face are smoothing out. Your forehead is calm, free from the lines of thought. Your eyes are closed softly, feeling the gentle darkness covering your vision. Close your mouth naturally, letting your tongue rest away from the roof of your mouth. Your entire face now carries a look of serenity, like a lake without a ripple on a windless night. Now, focus on your breath. Do not try to control it, simply observe it. The breath flows in, bringing the cool freshness of the night air. The breath flows out, carrying the warmth from within. This rhythm is steady and natural, like the sound of distant waves lapping against the shore. With every inhale, you receive peace. With every exhale, you release what is no longer needed. Imagine you are standing at the edge of a misty valley, the beginning of the town of Elysia. The air here smells of damp grass, old wood, and ancient peace. The mist does not feel cold. It wraps around you like a soft velvet blanket. You hear the whisper of the wind through the bamboo leaves, a rustling sound, steady as a wordless lullaby meant just for sleep. In this space, time is no longer measured by numbers on a clock. Time is measured by the slow beating of your heart. You feel yourself detaching from the noise of the city, from arguments, judgments, and boundaries. Here, you are just you, a pure being returning to absolute rest. This stillness is not emptiness, it is a fullness. It is the comfort of knowing you are exactly where you need to be. You are like a kite that has flown high through many layers of clouds, faced headwinds, and now the string is gently shortening, bringing you back to the warm earth. The kite no longer needs to stretch against the wind. It only needs to lie still on the grass, feeling the breath of Mother Earth. Let your mind drift with the lingering clouds of mist. Your thoughts are now like faint streaks of color on silk. They have no definite shape. They do not need your analysis. They appear and vanish, giving way to a vast, silent, and darkening space. You are drifting into a state of suspension between wakefulness and sleep, a state where all sounds become distant, all images become blurred, only the sense of absolute safety remains. You know that no matter how the world fluctuates, in this space you are always protected. Take a deep breath and exhale slowly. The feeling of relaxation has now saturated every cell. You feel light as cotton, as if even a gentle breeze could lift you. But you do not want to fly anywhere. You only want to stay here in the cradling embrace of the night. Feel the warmth of your breath around your nose and lips. It is the warmth of life, of peaceful existence. Now, prepare yourself to walk through the cobblestone streets of Elysia. Visualize the dim yellow lights from ancient windows. These lights are not bright. They are just enough to illuminate the dewdrops dancing in the air. Your imaginary footsteps on the pebbles are soft, not waking a single bird dozing on the willow branches. This town has existed for centuries, witnessing many seasons of fallen leaves and rising kites. It holds the wisdom of old craftsmen and the clarity of children tonight. It welcomes you like an honored guest returning home. No words needed, no explanations, only your silent presence. Continue to maintain that steady breath, slow and deep. You are drawing closer to Elias's kite workshop. There, the light from a flickering candle beckons you. The scent of bamboo and resin is waiting to tell you a story of dreams without borders. Let your eyes close a little tighter. Let your soul open a little wider. You are ready to dream. You are ready to fall deep into sleep. Peace, peace, and true peace. Now, let your mind gently step through the invisible gate of the town of Elysia. This is a place where the mist never fully clears. It is like a thin veil covering reality, softening all the sharp edges of life. The roads here do not run straight. They wind along the hillsides, paved with black cobblestones, worn smooth over centuries by the footsteps of craftsmen and silent dreams. Can you smell the fragrance in the air? It is the very essence of Elysia. The scent of sandalwood blending with the purity of bamboo forests after the rain, and a hint of the sweetness of old pine resin. That scent leads you past rows of mossy roofed houses where the lime walls have turned an ancient buttery yellow. Under the dull moonlight through the mist, each house is like a sleeping creature, their breath, the warm yellow light glowing from tiny windows, looking like giant fireflies perched along the slope. The only sound now is the crackle of dry bamboo in the wind and the gurgling of a small stream somewhere behind the weeping willows. That sound is steady and rhythmic, as if the heart of the valley is beating a very slow, very deep beat. You feel as if you are walking through a landscape painting where all colors are diluted by darkness and silence. And there, Elias's kite workshop appears at the end of the cobblestone road. It is a small wooden house with a wide porch where giant rolls of kite string are stacked like ancient statues. The light from inside is not blinding. It is a soft amber glow, warm as honey, spreading across the yard and illuminating the fine dust dancing in the air. As you draw closer, the sound of Elias whittling bamboo rises, a dry but artistic sound. Scrape, swish, scrape, swish. The old craftsman's hands move with absolute precision. Each cut into the bamboo is not just for shaping, but for awakening the soul of a plant that is naturally flexible and resilient. The bamboo in Elysia is unlike anywhere else. It has been tempered by icy winters and windy summers, carrying within it the strength to reach the clouds without ever snapping. Beside him, young Julian sits on a jute mat. His jars of paint are a miniature world of nature, the blue of the twilight sky, the purple of lavender at the foot of the mountain, and the pure white of the first snow. The boy meticulously paints on white silk, his eyes reflecting the flickering candlelight, full of reverence and passion. You can feel the warmth radiating from the small fireplace in the corner, a warmth that envelops the two of them, creating an oasis of peace amidst the turbulent world outside. Far away, beyond the roofs of Elysia, lies the majestic Seralis mountain range. In the dark, the peaks look like giants wearing black cloaks, standing guard over the border of two lands. But tonight, the sky beyond Seralis has no twinkling stars. There is a grey, heavy band of clouds covering the city of Seralis. That is where Madame Iris lives, with the hanging gardens that once bloomed in brilliant colors now lie silent under a layer of ash from misunderstandings. Though hundreds of miles apart, the space between Elysia and Seralis seems to be connected by this very atmosphere of heavy contemplation. In Seralis, the air does not smell of bamboo, but of dried rice paper and elegant jasmine. Madame Iris sits in her small room, her hands stroking the soft palm leaf stalks. Her kites do not need sturdy bamboo frames. They are designed to ride the lightest breezes, to slip through the cracks of hatred and reach kindred hearts. The contrast between the two spaces, the misty valley with its cozy woodshop on one side, and the ashen city with its secret worries on the other, creates an invisible bond. You can feel the movement of the air, the ocean breeze blowing toward the mountains, carrying moisture and whispers. The wind is the only messenger that needs no passport. Hindered by no lines on the map, the wind passes through Elysia, stirring Elias's kites, then crosses the Seralis peaks to touch Madame Iris's silver hair. In this space, all matter seems lighter. The bamboo, the silk, the rice paper, and even human sorrows are all preparing to be lifted. You find yourself standing in the middle, a point of absolute balance, where the heart can feel both the solidity of stone and the freedom of the void. Let the image of the workshop and the misty mountains slowly fade in your mind. The warmth of Elias's candle and the scent of jasmine from Iris's hands are merging into one, creating a gentle mist that soothes your senses. You are no longer an outside observer. You are melting into that very space, becoming part of the mist, part of the wind, and part of the dreams taking shape on the wings of a kite. The world is now just patches of light and shadow, soft as velvet. All sounds become distant, like the tolling of a temple bell from a hidden peak. You are here in a state of profound relaxation, ready to hear the story of the kites carrying dreams of peace. Let yourself drift so slowly, so smoothly along the flow of time in Elysia. In the stillness of the woodshop in Elysia, the sound of Elias whittling bamboo remains steady like the beat of time. Each piece of bamboo passing through his hands is no longer an inanimate object. It seems to breathe, preparing for a journey to the heights. Young Julian, with hands stained with color, looks up at his grandfather. The candlelight casts warm glows upon Elias's aged face, highlighting the wrinkles that hold a lifetime of wind and clouds. "Grandfather," Julian asks softly, his voice dissolving into the scent of fragrant wood, "why does this kite need so much silk? I've painted 3 large panels, and you are still preparing more frames." Elias pauses, his eyes drifting toward the distant Seralis mountains, where dark clouds still churn like a reminder of the world's fractures. He replies gently, "Julian, this kite is not just for flying, it is a boat carrying the weight of things words cannot fully convey. You see, when people can no longer hear each other's hearts across the lines on the ground, the sky is the only path left open. Its weight is not in the silk or bamboo, but in the hope of thousands of Elysia's people who long for a touch from the other side of the mountains." Julian falls silent, leaning down to mix a bit more light purple. He is painting a field of lavender, but in his imagination, the flowers are not still. They are swaying gently to the rhythm of ocean waves. He asks again, "Does Madame Aris on the other side of the mountain, does she know we are making this kite?" Elias smiles, a kind but wistful smile. "Kindred spirits always have an invisible bond, Julian. When I touch this bamboo, perhaps Aris is touching her palm stalks too. We need no letters, for the wind will carry one's heart to the other's ear. Do you know why they call the storms over Seralis rainless storms?" Julian shakes his head, his eyes wide with curiosity, because hatred and misunderstanding are like dust. Elias explains, his voice dropping like distant thunder. It blurs people's eyes, making them see only enemies instead of humans who also hurt, love, and fear just like them. When dust fills the sky, rain cannot fall to cool the soul. Those storms only bring coldness. That is why our kite must be very large, very strong, so that when it rises, it will fan away those layers of dust, so people can see each other once again. Hundreds of miles away, in Zalath, Madame Aris is also experiencing a sleepless night. Her room is small, tucked behind brick walls crumbling from the upheavals of the era, but inside the air is fragrant with jasmine. Aris is meticulously gluing thin pieces of rice paper onto palm leaf frames. Her granddaughter, Lena, huddles at her feet, her eyes full of worry every time the roar of engines echoes from afar. "Grandmother," Lena whispers, What if your kite is shot down by those iron birds? Iris stops and gently strokes her granddaughter's head. Her hands are frail, but hold great spiritual strength. Dear Lena, things made of iron and steel can destroy houses, but they can never touch things made of light and faith. My kite is made of rice paper. It is so light that the wind can take it through any crack. It is not a threat, so it will be invisible to hatred. It only appears before eyes that are searching for peace. Madame Aries picks up a small brush, dips it in black ink, and begins to write on the rice paper. She does not write of the suffering or losses Seralis is enduring. She writes of the green of Elysia's bamboo forests. She remembers from her youth. She writes of the taste of hot tea in the misty mornings, of the laughter of children during harvest. Every word written is like a seed sown into the void. Back at Elias's workshop, it is late into the night. The candle has burned halfway down, but the work continues in sacred silence. Julian has begun to tire, resting his head on a pile of kite strings, his eyes fluttering. Elias looks at his young apprentice, a swell of emotion in his heart. He knows Julian's generation shouldn't grow up in the shadow of conflicts they did not create. He takes a brush and writes on the silk wing in strong yet graceful strokes. Peace is not the absence of conflict, but the presence of compassion. He writes for old friends, for Aries, and for the soldiers standing guard at the border with hearts of stone. He wants them to understand that whatever they are protecting, the sky above them is the only shared roof. As Elias ties the final knot in the string, he feels a strange breeze blow through the crack in the door. It is a breeze carrying the salt of the sea and the familiar scent of jasmine. He smiles, knowing Aries has begun to release her kite. Julian's dream now appears vividly. He is no longer in the cramped workshop. He is standing on the peak of Mount Seralis, where dark clouds and light meet. From Elysia, Elias's giant kite soars, carrying Julian's purples and blues. From Zaleth, thousands of small white rice paper kites of Aries are like flocks of pure white doves flying against the wind. In the dream, Julian sees the two streams of kites meet in midair. They do not collide. They do not fight for space. Instead, they entwine, creating a brilliant ribbon of color across the gray sky. The strings from both sides interweave, forming a strong mesh of light, and miraculously, as the kites overlap, the dark clouds begin to vanish. The full moon, long hidden, suddenly shines brightly, illuminating every inch of land, every human face in both territories. Elias's voice echoes in his consciousness. Julian, look, when we choose to fly together, we create a power enough to dispel the darkness. No barrier is eternal if human hearts still yearn for connection. In Zaleth, Madame Aris stands on her balcony, eyes toward the mountains. Her kite has flown far, carrying a letter of faith. She feels the silence slowly returning. The dry clatter of machinery seems to quiet, giving way to the wind singing through the palm leaves. She knows that somewhere on the other side, Elias is standing just like her, holding the kite string with calloused hands. Two elderly people at opposite ends of a fractured world are mending the sky together with thin silken threads. The story shifts to a slower pace as the night enters its deepest phase. Elias lays Julian in a small bed in the corner, covering him with a thin blanket. He blows out the candle, leaving only the faint moonlight through the window. He sits beside the finished giant kite, feeling its gentle vibration as if it were eager to soar. True freedom, Elias whispers to himself, is when we realize that the pain of the enemy is also our own pain. When we stop looking at the lines on the map and start looking at the stars, we see that we are all lonely travelers on the same ship in the vast ocean. In absolute stillness, there seems to be a shift in consciousness. The people of Elysia begin to dream better dreams. The soldiers at the border suddenly find their hearts softening. They lower their weapons and look at the sky, wondering why they are here. Children like Lena stop trembling, replaced by a faint smile in their sleep from the strange scent of jasmine blowing from somewhere. Elias's kite and Aris's kite are not just objects, they are messengers of humanity. They carry the philosophy of empathy that as long as one person nurtures hope, light still has a chance to exist. The conflict may remain, the wounds may still ache, but as long as the kites fly, humans have not entirely lost their souls. Julian turns in his sleep, his hand still clutching a scrap of silk. He dreams of running with Lena in a vast field where there are no borders, no guns, only the wind and kites. Two children laughing, hand in hand, facing the dawn slowly breaking on the horizon. A dawn no longer of grey smoke, but the brilliant pink of a new life beginning. Elias looks out the window, seeing the first rays of the new day. He knows his work is done. A long night of anxiety has closed, giving way to a day of hope. He smiles, a smile of liberation and peace, for he knows, no matter how the world changes, love and empathy will always find a way to take flight, like his kites, forever soaring in the sky of humanity. When the darkness reaches its thickest point, the boundary between reality and dream begins to blur. The space of the kite shop in Elysia and the small room in Seralis are no longer separated by the majestic Seralis mountains. In the absolute stillness of late night, an invisible bond has been woven tight with threads of compassion. Now, imagine tens of thousands of kites from both sides beginning to soar. They are no longer objects made of bamboo, silk, or rice paper. They transform into tiny points of light, like millions of fireflies weaving a new galaxy in the middle of the atmosphere. These points of light float, slow and rhythmic. When a purple silk kite of Julian's glides past white rice paper kite of Elias, they do not collide. They merge, leaving shimmering trails like diamond dust dissolving in the air. This intersection carries a magical power. It melts the ice blocks of hatred, quiets the roar of machinery, and replaces it with the whisper of the ocean breeze. The words written in Elias's sandalwood ink and Aris's jasmine ink begin to leave the fabric and paper. They rise, becoming wordless prayers, soaking into every cloud, every blade of grass, the red lines on maps that humans drew themselves, suddenly become ridiculous and meaningless before the vastness of the sky. Do you feel the fading? It is when the I and the we, when this side and that side no longer matter. All that remains is a flow of pure life. In Julian's deep dream, he feels himself flying. He needs no wings. He only needs to follow the light of the kites. He sees soldiers laying down their guns to catch sweet dewdrops in their hands. He sees stone walls crumbling on their own to make way for rising green sprouts. All images now become diluted like a watercolor painting dipped into a cool stream. The vibrant colors of the evening gradually shift to a deep ocean blue, where all sounds are filtered through a soft membrane. This intersection is not just happening in the sky, it is happening right now in your mind. The worries of work, the concerns of life, the prejudices of right and wrong, all are gently fading. They become weightless, thin as smoke, then slowly dissolve into the void. You no longer see the workshop, no longer see the mountains. You only see a vast and endless space. You feel your body fading too. You no longer feel the weight of your arms or legs. You are only a gentle thought, drifting among the kites of hope. The silence now is no longer a mere absence of sound, but a symphony of empathy, where each breath you take is a note in the universe's melody. Let yourself dissolve completely into this intersection. Do not try to hold on to any image. Let the flow of the story take you to the place where all conflicts are resolved, where your soul is washed clean by the moonlight of compassion. You are becoming one with the sky, one with the wind, and one with the shared dream of humanity. This peace is eternal, the final harbor after a long journey of emotion. Just fade, just intersect in the gentle protection of the night. Now, even the brightest images have faded away, giving way to an absolute and vast stillness. The kites in the sky of Elysia and Seralis no longer dance. They have fulfilled their mission. Some kites gently land on mossy roofs, lying as peaceful as small birds that have just finished a long journey. Other kites, like Madame Iris's rice paper ones, slowly dissolve into tiny, shining dust particles, soaking deep into the earth, into every leaf, carrying the warmth of compassion to nourish the green sprouts of tomorrow. Do you feel the silence now? It is a vibrant silence, like the echo of a temple bell that has just ceased, leaving behind a space that is pure and weightless. The town of Elysia is now shrouded in thicker mist, but it is no longer the mist of darkness. It is a soft velvet blanket wrapping around all life. Elias's woodshop has completely extinguished its candles. Young Julian is sinking into a dreamless sleep, his breath steady, in rhythm with the wind breathing through the door. Everything is sleeping. The bamboo pieces are sleeping. The light purple silk panels are sleeping. Even the endless kite strings have curled up, resting after a night of tirelessly connecting hearts. The world outside, with its lines and disputes, has become too distant, like a memory from a past life that has been erased. Here, there is only you and the pure presence of the gentle darkness. Let your consciousness drift like a leaf falling on a rippleless lake. No destination, no effort, no waiting. You are melting completely into this warm darkness. Each of your breaths is now slower, deeper, and lighter. It is so light that you no longer feel the movement of your chest. You only feel yourself as part of the void, part of the eternal peace. The kite of your soul has found its harbor. It no longer has to stretch against the wind, no longer has to fear the storms. It has landed safely on the lush grass of empathy. You realize that peace is actually a state of the heart when we know how to let go of all grasping. Freedom is when we allow ourselves to rest, to be soft, and to be protected by the vast universe. Before you fully fall into deep sleep, let me send you one final message. The light of compassion will always lead you, even in the darkest night of your life. Keep this warmth in your chest so that when you wake up tomorrow, you will see the world with new eyes, eyes of tolerance and connection. If this story has brought you peace, do not forget to return in the following nights. so we can weave more beautiful dreams together. Leave a small message under the video, a heart or a greeting, so this community of peace seekers grows stronger. But that is for tomorrow. For now, let everything dissolve completely. The darkness is embracing you. The silence is cradling you. No more stories, no more words, only absolute rest remains. You are sleeping, sleeping so deeply, in the harmony of heaven and earth. Peace to you, peace to Elysia, peace to Seralis, and peace to the whole world. Good night.